Look, I like building stuff as much as the next guy, but building something for someone who organizes their fridge alphabetically? Not so much. Either way, I'm gonna do my best to try to appease my toughest client yet.
Oh no.
Stay tuned. Okay, so on Christmas Day last year, my Uncle Jim comes up to me and he asks me if I can make him a coffee table, and I said yes. However, I later learned that this was actually a surprise anniversary gift for my Auntie Linda, who is the lady who has her carrots in the top right-hand corner of her fridge and the watermelon down in the bottom left. So as you have gathered, yes, she is quite particular. And conveniently, the slab that my Uncle Jim picked out matches absolutely nothing in their house. Been there 1,000 times, doesn't match a thing. Way to go, old Jimmy. You can sense my panic, yes? Regardless, I got to work. Cue the music. So basically what you've seen me do is clean up this slab and then stabilize it. I used an old chisel to remove the big chunks of bark, and then I used this little wire brush attachment for my drill, and that always does a really good job. Now for the wicking glue. I had a really experienced woodworker that I respect a lot reach out to me on my story when I posted this slab, and he's like, hey, you need to stabilize that slab. And I was like, oh, why? Because I just don't know anything. And he's like, well, it's end grain. And then I looked at it and I was like, what? And then I was like, oh, yep, there's the pith. And I think I just never realized that this was an end grain slab just because of the shape of it. But I went to Black Forest and talked to the guys there, and originally was going to use a penetrating epoxy, and the guy at the store steered me to use this, and we will see how it does. I've never done this before, and if there is an issue, then I probably won't know for a while, but in 5 to 10 years, I'll let you guys know. After the wicking glue cured, I sanded it down and then brought the slab inside where it's warm so that I could fill the small cracks and voids with thin epoxy from Black Forest. However, in typical James fashion, I didn't mix the epoxy well enough, so it didn't fully cure. Super duper. So I picked the semi-cured epoxy out of the slab, brought it back inside, and did it all over again. Moving on to the legs, I grabbed this nice piece of ash and thought I would make legs that looked something a little like this.
I wish you'd stay, but there you go. I have so much I wanna say to you, much I wanna say, but there's no time. We used it all. Still have so much I wanna talk about, but I messed it up and there you go. There you go, walking out that door. It felt so close, closer than it felt before. Forgiving me, and I just want you to know I didn't mean it. Baby, I just wanna be with you. I should be with you.
It was really important to me to build custom legs for Auntie Linda for 2 reasons. First, I know that I could have just ordered some really nice prefabricated legs from Flowy Line Designs, slapped them on the bottom, and called it a day. But I wanted to show her that I cared, and I felt like making the legs from scratch would demonstrate that. However, we'll see later on that it didn't really work out that way. Number 2, I see every project as a chance to get better, and I try to take every project and up my skills in some way so that little improvements like this hopefully compound over a decade, and I can look back at this video in 2035 and be like, wow, James, you were terrible. I then use this dowel jig from Milescraft, which I actually really like. Of course, I'd love a Festool domino, but you gotta walk before you run. I didn't use the dowels for strength or anything like that. It was more so just alignment assistance for the glue up, and it worked out really well. Now, because old Jamesy's trying to be fancy here, I thought I would use some threaded inserts to attach the legs. I didn't glue the legs together at this point because I still needed to drill the holes that would accept the bolts for the threaded inserts, and obviously if the legs were assembled, it would be much harder to drill. I also wanted everything to look symmetrical, and when I did this, I realized how much I hate the imperial system, and I understand now why everyone bitches about it, because if you had the choice to divide by 2 between 162 millimeters that I could look at and just say 81, or 6 3/8 inches, which would you choose? I rest my case. After getting the threaded inserts in, I realized that one of them was a bit proud, so I filed it down with my rasp and sorted it out. I then temporarily assembled the legs and temporarily attached them to the slab and got a nice little preview of what this table is going to look like. Back to the slab. I wanted to do something that I saw Chris from Four Eyes Furniture do and do a thumbnail profile. Unfortunately, I'm not the sharpest bulb in the jar, so it didn't go very well. After getting that fixed, I started the fine detail cleanup of the live edge slab. And let me tell you, I paid extra close attention to this. Why? Well, let's jump back to 1998, and James is in grade 5. Auntie Linda is a teacher, thankfully not at my school. However, she must have been in my classroom and conveniently at my desk. For on Monday morning, I returned to school. Our teacher asks us to open our workbook so we can continue working on the baloney that is barometers and kilopascals. I look at my notebook and I see a handwritten note that says, "Sharpen your pencil," basically written in calligraphy. I flipped through my workbook and noticed that I had done my Friday work with a pencil pretty much as dull as I pondered the note and realized the only person I know that can write in calligraphy is my Auntie Linda. Next Sunday, when I was at her house having the driest roast of my life, she let me know she saw my work and I needed to sharpen my pencil. Anyways, then I glued up the legs. Once my glue up was done, you'll notice that I immediately put my clamps away. But I also forgot to tape half the corners before the glue up. You win some, you lose some. Okay, we're at a critical point in the build because I don't know what to do with the legs. I want them to match the edge profile on the table as best as possible. So I'm going to put a round over on the outside of the legs. I don't know if this is going to look good. It might look like shit. It might look really good. I don't know. But I'm at the point in my woodworking career, the beginning, to just try things and see what happens because I'd rather just try something, see how it goes, and iterate further and at least learn from a mistake now rather than just like pondering the idea. So I feel very thankful to have family that are just like, hey, go make us something cool, fill your boots. So thank you, Uncle Jim, for just giving me freedom to do this. I hope you like it. I hope I like it. I hope somebody likes it. Okay. I hope Auntie Linda likes it. After staining the legs and applying Rubio to them and the tabletop, I decided to try something new. I went to Blacktail Studios' website and downloaded his sanding and finishing workshop, and it was really good. and free. But Cam also really hooked me into wanting to try his N3 Nano ceramic finish, so maybe that's why the course was free. That's how they get you. Anyways, when I first had the Rubio on the table, I thought it looked great, and then I put the N3 on the table, and I thought it looked more great. And on top of that, the table's now a lot more durable, it will repel liquids, and it still feels natural, so I'm really happy after trying this. Okay, warning, this next part of the video really sucks. For me at least. Because on screen, James right here is so excited. James is doing cartwheels in his head. This table's taken me a long time. I have not had a lot of time. That's why there was snow near the start of the video. And all I'm doing now is attaching the legs, and I'm about to flip this table over. I am so pumped.
Plot twist, this table turned out ugly. I think I made the legs too tall, and overall, like stylistically, I just feel like the base doesn't match the tabletop, and I'm pretty bummed.
Alrighty, we are heading to Wood Cache to buy some more wood. I want to get some walnut for the legs, and I want to get some maple dowels to connect the legs, because I think that would look nice matching the sapwood of the walnut slab. However, I might change my mind. We will see.
And I did buy those things, and I planned on building a mid-century base that looked kind of like this. However, as I began to push through, trying to navigate this oddly shaped tabletop, I realized a couple things. And to sum up, I think my ego got in the way. I wanted to build custom legs for Auntie Linda to show her that I cared. I wanted to make a more interesting video for you, the viewer, so that hopefully you saw value in my channel. But then I realized I need to make the best possible table for Auntie Linda, regardless of what the legs are. And sometimes that means swallowing your pride and buying legs from Amazon. This table wasn't perfect, but the journey was really interesting. And I love the journey. I love my woodworking and YouTube journey. And even though they're difficult, clunky, and jagged, and it feels like I don't know what I'm doing a lot of the time, I still love it, and it feels right. And I love the feeling I get when I make something for someone, and I get to give it to them, and I can tell they're super pumped, and then I feel super pumped, and I want to keep doing that. And I think I will. So ha. See you next video.